Being good at your job doesn't protect you as much as people think it does. And I bet you've seen this already. The reliable person disappears during a restructure. Somebody less competent survives again. One person misses a deadline and suddenly becomes a concern. Another misses targets for 6 months, and people keep making excuses for them. Everybody notices it, but almost nobody says it out loud. And once you notice it, a lot of workplace decisions start making a different kind of sense. So watch what happens the moment a senior position opens. You can bet within 48 hours, certain people start appearing in calls nobody used to invite them to. Emails that used to include 6 people now include 5. Some people start getting asked first, others start getting thanked last. And nobody announced any of this. The room just started moving. The meeting usually starts before the meeting starts. People still used performance language long after the real conversation changed. And it works the same way in a family business. When the founder starts getting older, certain conversations start happening without certain people in the room. Someone who assumed they were next starts noticing they're getting updated rather than consulted, but nobody says anything directly. The calendar just starts looking different. A position opens up in politics, and I've seen this happen. Within days, certain people start receiving calls. Others stop getting invited to the informal dinners, and the announcement comes weeks later. But by that point, it's already history. Work hard enough, deliver consistently, stay reliable. That's where people get caught. Now, certain people walk into a difficult conversation and the pace slows slightly. People wait before responding. A senior leader gets criticized in a meeting. Watch who changes the subject first. 2 people make the same mistake in a client meeting. One gets asked to stay behind afterwards. The other gets copied into a follow-up email before they even leave the room. And nobody reacted at all to the second one. Now, everybody still describes the process as objective, which technically nobody was lying about. Some people just make difficult meetings easier the second they walk in. People relax around them. It's not charisma exactly, it's something more specific than that. Working harder didn't stop paying off because you failed. It stopped paying off because you were building inside the wrong system. Probably staying late, working extra hours felt like an investment. Preparing carefully for every meeting felt like you were building something. Even being reliable felt like job security. But none of it was building what you thought. Sure, reviews still arrived on schedule, the language stays positive. Meanwhile, the informal coffee invitations slow, then they stop. The formal relationship stays warm, but the social one cools down. Now in judo, kazushi happens before the throw. The balance breaks first, but by the time you feel it, you're already heading towards the mat. Now I've been in meetings where everybody already knew the outcome except the person presenting. The discussion still ran its full hour. Questions still got asked. Notes still got taken. I mean, the process was entirely real, which I guess was almost the impressive part. But the decision had been made 3 weeks earlier. Now, the clearest version of this I ever witnessed wasn't during a promotion announcement. It was during the meeting where the decision got made. 6 people in a room, promotion meeting, 2 names on the table, both strong, both credible, roughly comparable. The first person's weaknesses got examined very carefully. Specific examples raised, questions about whether they were ready. Nobody jumped in. I think somebody looked down at their notes. The silence ran longer than it needed to. The second person's identical weaknesses came up, and the criticism barely finished before somebody said, well, that's just an area for a development. The answer came way too quickly. Nobody asked for that reframe. It just arrived. And I remember realizing the conversation wasn't really about either candidate anymore. Everybody just adjusted around one candidate faster. Now, later that quarter, they released a redundancy list, and the names were discussed one by one. First name, there were arguments, defense, qualification, 20 minutes of friction. The second name, just a nod, and everybody moved on. Now, most people think the performance review is where their value gets measured. It isn't. By the time the review happened, most people nearby already knew where things were heading. The structured interview, the development plan, the feedback session where everything sounded positive, the process was rigorous. Probably the documentation was thorough, but the decision had been made weeks earlier. The HR business partner books a 30-minute slot. No agenda sent. The manager is already in the room when the person arrives. The person realizes in the first 10 seconds, and the next 40 minutes happen anyway. The plan is just the paper trail, not the intervention. Nobody in the room thinks they're lying. And this is how careers quietly stall. And it's not through failure, it's through misdirection. And at first, nothing looks wrong. The projects that go to somebody else, the conversations you stop getting invited to, the decisions made before you're consulted. Strong feedback while your access disappears. Someone stops getting copied into a distribution list. They send a polite note, assuming it's an oversight. They get added back. But 3 months later, they realize the real conversation has moved somewhere else entirely. It's the timing that goes first before anything feels serious, before there's anything specific to point to. And the window where you could have moved, built different relationships, changed what you were building, that closes while you're still working hard inside a system that has stopped watching. The competitor role that would have been a lateral move 18 months ago is now 2 levels above you. The market didn't change, your position inside it did. Now, by the time most people notice, they're already negotiating from a position they don't have. The feedback was always excellent, which, I guess to be fair, was one of the more reliable things the process produced. But people stop standing beside you before they stop talking to you. And once you understand this, you stop listening to what organizations say about themselves and you start watching how people behave when things get uncomfortable. Who keeps access after mistakes? Who gets defended before criticism fully lands? The people who matter usually get regarded more generously under pressure. Who the team quietly organises around before anything is officially decided. The room tells you who matters before leadership does. Watch who gets defended once defending them becomes publicly uncomfortable. Not when it's easy, when it costs something. Watch those mistakes get quietly reframed before anyone asks for them to be reframed. The pattern usually tells you more than the org chart does. And now you know what to watch instead.